Hi, welcome. In the previous video, we have seen how to derive mathematical expression for electric field due to line charge. So during discussion of distribution of charges, we have seen that charges can also exist as surface charge. So in today's video, we are going to find electric field at a given point due to such a surface charge. So sheet charge is the best example for a surface charge. Okay, a sheet of charge would be a best example for surface charge. So before going to the diagram, which you can see on the board, I would like to remind you that the line charge was made up of so many point charges. Is it not? If you have a line, that line charge is constituted of so many point charges, right? So many point charges aligned will give you line charge. Now listen carefully. So now if I consider a sheet of charge, okay, so this is a sheet, okay, full of charges. If I assume, I can assume that this sheet of charge is filled with so many point charges. Is it not? I can do this. Or the better way of representing this sheet of charge is so many line charges, okay, 1, okay, 2, okay, like that many line charges aligned like this. Is this better? And each line charge is having point charges like this, okay, point charges like this. What I am trying to say? So line charge is visualized as point charges put together, and sheet charge will be visualized as line charges put together. Hope that is very clear. Okay, nice. So if charge density of sheet charge is rho s, surface charge density, because this is a surface, right? Sheet charge is a surface. So if sheet charge is rho s, sheet charge density is rho s, then line charge of each is rho, right? Rho. Each line making this sheet will have its own line density of rho. So now first my duty is to relate this rho s and rho. Rho s and rho. Now in this sheet, if I consider a small portion, okay, small portion of line, okay, so this and this, if I consider a small portion, okay, this portion I am considering, and this length, let it be dx, so means the width of this, okay, width of this will be dx. So if I consider the line charge density of this small width dx itself as rho, how can I relate rho and rho s is the question. How can I relate rho and rho s? So this rho, okay, which is the density of this small portion dx, can I write it as rho is rho s of small portion dx. Agree? So the line charge density of this width portion dx can be written as the entire sheet charge density multiplied by that small portion dx, or in other words, line charge of this small portion dx is sheet charge density for that small portion dx. So I can write this. So remember this. Okay. So remember this explanation when we start this derivation. So I have rho L equal to rho S dx. Now look at the figure. Come to the figure. I have already drawn this figure for saving the time. Okay, nothing else. So what you have to understand here is I have considered an XYZ Cartesian coordinate system. Then I have considered a sheet of charge, okay, of infinite surface area. How much? Infinite surface area means since it is in XZ plane, okay, this plane, XZ plane, you can see that length is extending along Z axis, minus Z axis plus Z axis, and width is extending along X axis plus X axis minus X axis. Is that very clear? Getting feeling of this? So this is supposed to be a three-dimensional figure. I hope you are getting the feeling of it. So I have kept this sheet of charge which is infinite length. Okay, it is extending from plus infinity to minus infinity, lengthwise, and plus infinity to minus infinity, widthwise as well. So this is now lying, okay, in XZ plane or along XZ plane. And I'll make one assumption. The assumption is the axis of this sheet is Z axis. In the sense, the middle portion of this sheet passes through the origin or Z axis. Okay, origin. So I have equal amount of width this side and equal amount of width this side. That is the meaning. Similarly, I will have equal amount of height down, equal amount of height up. Assumption. Is that okay? So this origin of our XYZ axis is the midpoint of the sheet. That is the meaning. Midpoint of the sheet. That is the meaning. Okay. So keeping that in mind, I am considering, okay, remember this explanation, I am considering a small portion of the sheet, width dx. So this particular width will have how much? Charge density rho L. Agree? Because I can consider this as a portion of line charge. Right? Because sheet charge is made up of so many line charges and this small portion dx will be line charge. So density of this particular portion only is rho L, and for this entire charge will be, so entire sheet will be rho S. Okay, entire sheet will be rho S. So this equation rho L equal to rho S dx is applicable here also. Fine. Okay. Now this portion which I have, the dx portion which I have considered, is approximately x length from the origin. Okay, since it is along x axis, I have taken the length as x. Okay, now let me mark point P. Okay, so somewhere here I have point P. You can see this is my point P, where I need to find electric field intensity due to this entire sheet of charge. Electric field intensity due to this entire sheet of charge, I need to find at this point P. So I draw a line from the midpoint of the sheet to this point, and the distance is marked as capital R. Capital R. As well as I measure from this portion, that is where I consider dx, from x axis where I have considered this portion dx, from there what is the distance to point P. This also I measure, and that I have labeled as small r. Small r, and let this line makes an angle theta. Some angle I have marked it as theta. You can mark it any letter you can use, any Greek letter better. Okay, better to use Greek letters when we mark angles. That is the practice, right? So I am using theta. So this line R, which is joining my portion of sheet charge and point P where I need to find electric field intensity, is small r. Okay, small r, and that makes an angle theta with x axis. Okay, now what will be the direction of electric field intensity? Direction of electric field intensity will be along this line, right? If you remember definition of electric field intensity, if you remember electric field intensity due to infinite line charge which we have derived in the previous video, what we do? From the line charge or from the point charge, we draw a line to point P, then find the distance, and we know that electric field intensity is inversely proportional to distance. So here also I am doing same thing. Now this dx is my portion of sheet charge. From there how much far is my point P is what I am saying, that is R. Okay, this distance is R. Okay, so now the electric field intensity will be in this direction. Yeah. Should be parallel to this, no? Electric field intensity will be marked because field intensity is vector, so it has direction as well. So electric field intensity due to this small portion dx will be along this direction. Agree? dE. Now what I do is, this dE is in some arbitrary direction, so it is difficult to derive with some arbitrary direction. So I resolve this dE component into horizontal component and vertical component. You have to understand that, okay, in the figure it looks like small angles, but you have to understand that, okay, you have to very imaginary. See, this dEx is parallel to this x-axis. So this is away from you. This is away from the screen. Okay, that side, like this. This x is towards you. The same feeling. This dx is away from you. Means it is making angle 90 degree. Okay, in the sense this dex, okay, dex and dy, no, this dy, this angle should be 90 degree because this is away from, and dy is in this direction. So I have resolved dE. What is dE? Electric field intensity at a point P due to this dx will be in this direction. Now this is in some arbitrary direction. Very difficult to derive keeping arbitrary direction because I will not have any reference. I should have reference with respect to any axis, then only I can derive it easily. So I resolve it into two components, one along y axis, that is dEy, and another along x axis, but in opposite x axis direction. Okay, this way it comes. When you resolve, you get it this way. So you get dEx. Is this fine? Okay, so dEx and dEy are the two components. Now keeping all this in our mind, okay, let us remember what is electric field intensity due to this line charge at a point P. Generally, what is electric field intensity? Okay, so here it is small portion. Okay, so I write it as dE instead of E. So what is electric field intensity at a point due to line charge? It is nothing but rho L. We have derived in the previous video, right? Rho L. If you are not remembering, pause watching this video here, stop the video here, go to my previous video, watch it and come back, then continue. Okay, so this, I think this is what we have done. Okay, rho or R, we have taken R, right? R, A, R cap. So this what we get. This is the electric field intensity at a point due to line charge. Yes. So now here instead of E it is D. I told you the reason already. Now see here, rho L. I have rho L in the numerator, and here already I know what is rho L with respect to rho S, because here I don't want rho L, I want rho S, right? Because sheet of charge is my reference. So rho L has to be converted to rho S term. So rho L is rho S dx. So please substitute that here. So you get dE vector as rho S dx divided by 2 pi epsilon R A R cap. So if air is the medium, I can consider this as epsilon naught. Okay, so I will write generally epsilon, it's understood. It is epsilon naught epsilon R, and if it is air medium, then epsilon R is 1. But I will take the general case, I will write it as epsilon. Is that fine? So I will be continuing deriving this from this equation. I hope things are very clear till here, so that I can move little fast now. So dE is rho S dx by 2 pi epsilon. Okay. Now I told you that we have resolved this dE. This is my dE in some arbitrary direction, but I have resolved this dE in two directions, right? dEx and dEy. Okay. Now from the figure you see, I will just consider one component at a time. Okay, I will tell you the reason later. Okay. So next you see, how will I write dEy? Okay, I have two components. dE is divided into two components, dEx and dEy. Initially I am considering dEy. So dEy from this figure, if how can I write? So this angle is theta. This angle is theta, right? This angle is listen here, this angle is theta, see this is theta. So by symmetry, this angle also will be theta, okay, this angle also will be theta. So keeping this in mind, dEy can be written as dE sin theta, okay, hope you will agree, dE sin theta. Or you can directly remember what you have studied in mathematics while resolving the component. The horizontal component will be sin theta component, right? So dEy will be equal to dE sin theta, okay, this is E, dE sin theta. Okay, now from this equation, can you tell me what is dE? dE vector is rho s dx 2 pi epsilon r ar cap. So if I remove this ar cap from here, I will get magnitude of dE, because dE vector is magnitude into direction. So this is magnitude of dE. So here I have dE magnitude. So this rho s dx 2 pi epsilon r can be directly substituted for this dE. Agree? So dEy will be now rho s dx divided by 2 pi epsilon r sin theta. 2 pi epsilon r sin theta. Okay, so I get rho s dx by 2 pi epsilon r sin theta is my dEy. Okay, now I have my dE equation, I have dEy equation, okay, but I will not write dEx equation. I will tell you the reason later. Before that, you should know that how will I find E? My intention is what? Finding total electric field intensity at a point P, right, due to the entire sheet of charge. Now what I am finding? dE is what, or dEy is what? It is only a component of electric field intensity due to this small length dx, right, small length dx. So for entire sheet of charge, generally how can I write? For entire sheet of charge, E vector is integral of dE. Agree? What you have done similar to the previous. So here the sheet is extending from minus infinity to plus infinity. So integral E will be minus infinity plus infinity. Now this is same as integral minus infinity to plus infinity dEx component, right, plus minus infinity to plus infinity dEy component. Agree? Because dE component is splitted into two separate components, dEx and dEy. Now listen carefully. Now I will tell you why I have not considered dEx. Similar to the line charge derivation, where we have neglected the Z component, if you remember, Z component or Z component. Okay, same way, what if I consider this dx on the other side, this dx on other side, what will happen? Again I will have this x here, okay, I will have this direction, and dx will happen in this direction, getting this dx. So for every dx on the either side, okay, for every dx along the width in positive x direction and along the width minus x direction, I will have an equivalent dx which will be cancelling always each other. Getting what I am trying to say? This dx will be in this direction, and when I draw another dx here, okay, I will get a triangle like this. dEy will be same, effect of dEy remains same, but dEx will be exactly opposite to this vector. They cancel. Same vector in opposite direction, they cancel, right? This will be A, this will be minus A. Same magnitude, they cancel. A minus A, 0. Okay? So, this is true throughout. What does it mean? Only dEy component of this dE vector exists, and dEx component will cancel by geometry. Hope that is clear. Okay? So, my dE will be just dEy. Is that okay? So, this means this component goes to 0. So, now I have E vector as, I have my E vector as integral minus infinity to infinity dEy only. dEy only. Okay, now what is it? Now I have dEy. What is dEy? This is dEy. Rho s dx 2 pi epsilon r sin theta. So that is minus infinity. Just back substitute. Minus infinity to infinity. Okay, dEy is nothing but rho s dx divided by 2 pi epsilon r sin theta. Okay, sin theta. Okay, now see here, again we have a problem here. How to integrate this? Actually it's a challenge, interesting challenge. Okay, so people who are interested in mathematics, it's an interesting challenge. Now people who doesn't like integration, okay, this is really a problem, because see here you have dx here, variable is x, and here you have theta. Theta is also a variable, right? What is theta? Theta is the angle subtended. Theta will vary, no? So theta is variable, but here you have integration with respect to dx. So what should I do now? Either I should be able to convert these terms, right? Sin theta. Okay, this r is also variable. This r, rho s is constant, 2 pi epsilon is constant. R is variable, theta is variable, but I have integration with respect to x. So I should be able to find, okay, if you have watched my previous video clearly, I have explained there very clearly how to go for integration by substitution. So here I have r, here I have theta, both variable, but integration is with respect to x, which is third variable. So there are different ways of doing this. Either I can convert this sin theta terms into x and integrate with respect to dx itself, but easier job will be find x in terms of theta and make this d theta. Okay, make this d theta. Try to convert this to d theta. How? Find x and r both, because both are variables. Find x and r with respect to theta. So let us try to do that. Okay, how to do that? So let us go for the geometry. Let us go to the figure. So please listen carefully. From this figure, I'll use this, okay, I'll use this space. From this figure, okay, consider this triangle. Consider this triangle, this black triangle. So where I have all this r, small r, x, because in that equation you see in that theta, r and x are the variables. So I have to somehow find some relation for x with respect to theta, some relation for r with respect to theta. Then my job is done. Why these are variables? These are variables because this dx can be this side, no? Little this side. If this dx is little this side, x becomes larger, r becomes larger, theta also becomes larger. If this is this side, the other way. Getting? So when dx varies, because dx can be anywhere on the sheet of charge, anywhere. So accordingly x, r and theta will vary. Getting? That's why I am taking this triangle. This triangle will vary with respect to this dx. Hope that is very clear. Okay, keeping that in mind, from this triangle, okay, let me try, because I am not finding any way to get direct relation between x and r. Okay, let me try. So I will make use of this capital R also. Capital R also. So from this triangle, okay, let me write first what is sin theta. Okay, I will make use of this space. I think it's visible. Sin theta. So what will be sin theta? So remember, this is right angle triangle. Okay, this is right angle triangle. So small r is the hypotenuse. Small r is the hypotenuse. So sin theta will be opposite side, that is capital R by hypotenuse, right? Small capital R by small r. What will be cos theta? I am just trying, okay, with everything, because I want to get a relation, right? So cos theta is small x by hypotenuse r, adjacent side by hypotenuse. I get these two relations. Will these two relations help me? I want to get x in terms of theta. X in terms of theta. X can be r cos theta, but I don't want in terms of r also, because r is also a variable. Okay, what is fixed here? Capital R is fixed, no? capital R is not a variable. Getting from the figure you see, capital R, unless point P varies, capital R is not a variable. Now we are not varying this P. We are keeping this P constant and we are varying dx, right? Okay, so remember, so this capital R for time being is constant. Okay, so I have to get x in terms of capital R and theta. I should, okay, from this I can write small x equal to small r cos theta. But that will not help me because r is also variable. I want x in terms of r and theta. Why? Because I am trying to write the equation in respect to d theta. So theta can be variable, but two terms cannot be variable. Only one term can be variable. So what I can do is, okay, let me try taking the ratio of this. Okay, ratio of this cos theta divided by sin theta. What I get? Cos theta by sin theta, x by r divided by r by r. R, small r and small r get cancels. So I get this ratio as x by r, right? X by r. And what is cos theta by sin theta? Cos theta by sin theta is cot theta, right? Opposite of tan theta. Sin theta by cos theta is tan theta. So cos theta by sin theta is 1 by tan theta or cot theta. See here. Now I get x is r cot theta. Wonderful. I get x is r cot theta. See, I get x in terms of theta and r. R is constant. Considering point P is not varying. So I can write x in terms of theta. That is x equal to capital R cot theta. Now I should write small r also, right? Small r also like this. Small r in terms of capital R and theta. So look here in this equation. Look here in the first equation. Sin theta is capital R by R. Okay, but I want R here. So R becomes R capital R by sin theta. What is 1 by sin theta? Cosec theta. Getting? I'll repeat. See, I want small r. So I'll bring this small r this side. So sin theta the other side. So small r equal to capital R by sin theta. What is r by sin theta? So I get r into 1 by sin theta. What is 1 by sin theta? Cosec theta. So r cosec theta. So I can write small r equal to capital R cosec theta. Is this fine? So from the geometry I find that x is r cot theta and r is cosec theta. Okay. Now I'll use that result here. I'll try to use that result here. Okay, I'll try to substitute it here. So the values what I got is, I'll rewrite it, x equal to r cot theta and small r equal to capital R cosec theta. Okay, see, this is nice. Okay. Now what else I need in that equation? Dx also is required, right? Dx is required. Now how to find dx? I have x here, no? I have x. So I can find dx. So what is dx? Dx is differential of r cot theta. So what is differential of cot theta? Minus cosecant square theta. So this becomes minus r cosecant square theta d theta. Agree? So dx becomes minus r cosecant square theta d theta. Okay, I'll rewrite this portion this side. So dx. So dx is minus r cosecant square theta d theta. See now, I have x equal to r cot theta, I have r equal to r cosecant theta, I have dx is equal to minus r cosecant. I didn't use any shortcut methods, I didn't use any magic. I have just used the geometry of the figure which we have considered to derive all this. I have reached this equation because of that particular diagram which we have initially considered. If the diagram is changed, I will not reach this. So using the same diagram, I have decided what to be substituted in this so that I can solve it easily. Okay. Now substitute all these values back to this. So I get E vector equals integral minus infinity to plus infinity rho s dx is minus r cosecant square theta d theta, right? Then you have sin theta here, don't forget, right? Sin theta. So sin theta divided by 2 pi epsilon r. R is nothing but capital R cosec theta. Now see how it simplifies. It's nice. Okay. This R cancels. I have cosecant square theta here. I have cosec theta here. Okay. And what is cosec theta, sin theta? That also cancels. I hope you get it, because cosec theta is 1 by sin theta. Okay, cosecant square theta, cosec theta. 1 cosec theta cancels, 1 cosec theta remains. Cosec theta is nothing but 1 by sin theta. So sin theta by sin theta. So cosec theta and sin theta cancels. See, now what remains? So I get E vector as minus infinity to infinity plus infinity minus sign, don't forget, minus rho s by 2 pi epsilon d theta. That's it. That's it. See how it's simplified? If you use a proper integration by substitution variables, see how integration becomes easier. Now here you see rho s 2 pi epsilon, everything is constant, so I'll remove it. Okay, take it outside the integration. So minus rho s 2 pi epsilon integral minus infinity to plus infinity d theta. Okay, d theta. So now what is integral of d theta? Theta, right? So theta from minus infinity to plus infinity. Okay, now how will I integrate this? We should not forget that. Okay, we should have done it here itself, but okay, we can do it here. So when I change this dx to d theta, right? Dx is changed to d theta. This minus infinity to infinity is for x, right? Because sheet of charge is varying from minus infinity to plus infinity along the width. The width of the sheet is varying from minus infinity to plus infinity along x direction. That is what represented by this, right? Minus infinity to infinity dx. But now we have theta as the variable. So from the geometry or from this equation x equal to r cot theta, I can find the limits. So let me write it here. How will I find the limits? If x is minus infinity, okay, theta, if x is minus infinity, theta will be minus infinity equal to cot theta. So theta is cot inverse of minus infinity. So what is it? So theta should be pi. Okay. So for x is equal to plus infinity, theta will be equal to 0. I hope you know this. Okay. So because I have cot theta, minus infinity equal to cot theta, I'll have. So theta is cot inverse of minus infinity. Cot inverse of minus infinity is pi. Because when theta equal to pi, I am going to get cot theta as minus infinity. That way also you can think. Okay. So similarly, x equal to infinity, theta will be 0. Okay. So please substitute these limits also here. So I'll rewrite this. So this becomes minus rho s by 2 pi epsilon limit. When it is infinity, it is pi. Sorry, minus infinity, it is pi. And for infinity, it is 0 d theta. Okay. So this is 0. I'll rewrite 0. Okay. 0 d theta. So this tells me minus rho s by 2 pi epsilon integral theta is, sorry, d theta is theta from the limit pi to 0. Okay, pi to 0. Continuing, what I get, E vector will be minus rho s by 2 pi epsilon, upper limit minus lower limit, 0 minus pi. So this is 0 minus pi is minus pi. So rho s into pi divided by 2 pi epsilon. Pi cancels. So this indicates that E vector is rho s by 2 epsilon. Okay, see how simplified equation we have got at the end. E vector is rho s by 2 epsilon. That means electric field intensity at any point due to a sheet of charge doesn't depend upon distance. Interesting? Distance, what does it mean? It doesn't depend where I am putting point P. That's why I was going on telling you that point P is constant. Point P we were not going to move, right? Well, finding the geometry for integration by substitution, I was telling you that capital R is constant because point P is constant. This was the reason, because in back of mind I already know that my final equation will not have that distance, small r or capital R. Okay, so this is interesting. So look at this equation. So what you infer from this equation? Electric field intensity due to a sheet of charge directly depends upon charge density of the sheet and inversely depends upon 2 times permittivity of the medium. That's it. It does not depend upon distance. Okay, now one important point here. Few students might have been noticed already. This is a vector. E is a vector. But on the right hand side, I have a scalar. Direction is not there. See, this is a scalar quantity. This will be some value. This will be some value. So E vector equal to 3. Is that possible? A vector should always have magnitude and direction, no? So since we know that, we are already in a stage where we know that a vector is magnitude into direction. But when we derive, we are not getting any particular direction. We are not getting a particular direction because the reason is same. What is the reason? This equation E vector doesn't depend upon r, distance. So it doesn't influence in which direction you are putting point P. This is excellent to understand. Why this final equation is not having direction? Because it tells you that this electric field intensity is same in all the directions. That is the meaning. Same in all the directions. It doesn't depend upon direction. That is the meaning. Okay, but mathematically it is wrong. Okay, electromagnetic wise or as a field theory engineer or as an electromagnetic engineer, this equation is right. But as a mathematician, if your mathematics faculty sees this, he will question you. Arey, this is a vector. Where is the direction? So to satisfy such fellows or mathematicians, even though you are an electromagnetic engineer, you should be able to represent this by direction. So I will put some arbitrary direction. What do you mean by arbitrary direction? Any direction this is true. Any direction this is true. So I will put some arbitrary direction. Arbitrary direction A S cap, where S indicates sheet or surface. A S cap. Now see, if you take this point P on y axis, like this example, I can represent it as A y cap. If I take this point in z direction, then A z cap, then x cap. But if I put this point somewhere, not on the axis, anywhere on the space, not on axis, then you can represent this as AS cap. I hope this is very clear. Again, this is very lengthy derivation. If you have listened carefully, I feel this derivation will be thorough by now. If it is not thorough, I recommend repeat watch. Okay, you can pause it. Okay, it's all digital now. You can pause it, rewind it, watch it again and again and again till you understand the concept. If you feel that I have made any mistakes in between the derivation, because I am also a human being, I can make mistakes, you can point it out. In the description, you will have my email ID. You can email me where I have made any such mistake, or those students, if my students are watching this, my students will be knowing my number. Okay, they will let me know if I did any mistake. Okay, my students are my good teachers. Okay, good teachers. Okay, thank you for watching this video. Pleasure learning.